I'm Isobel Pooley, British high jumper and Commonwealth silver medalist. Welcome to my journey to Rio.
Okay, so joining me is the Commonwealth silver medalist and British record holder for the high jump, Isobel Pooley. Isobel, obviously you set that record last summer and that medal at Glasgow. Last year's summer can be hard to emulate, isn't it?
Well, actually last year's summer kind of was a gradual build-up like this one's shaping up to be, although this year I started off with stronger performances in the early season, so actually I'm really excited to see what the end of the season is going to produce if I can keep recreating this sort of form and build on my 190 performances throughout May to build through into June and July, because in 2014 I only really found consistency in July, and to already have that in May, if I can keep going, is really exciting and bodes well for the World Champs at the end of the year.
Yeah, well, it's certainly something to build on, isn't it? And great to have that confidence at a time when your long-term target is the road to Rio.
Exactly. It's lovely to have Beijing as a focal point on that journey to Rio, because I'm growing up a lot at the moment in terms of myself as an athlete and my belief in myself and how I feel when I compete at this kind of level, in terms of just really believing that I belong here and I deserve those podium finishes or those medals. And actually, Beijing, if I can really take ownership of that stage and that role as an ambassador for Great Britain at a World Championships, then I'm sure that I can take on the challenge of being an Olympian, which is a heavy responsibility, but it's such a massive privilege, I suppose, and I want to do the absolute best I can with that privilege.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned sort of growing up, but it is a new phase of life for you, having graduated from university. I think you took 10 centimetres off your personal best in over a couple of years. And now you come here, you're doing photo shoots with British Athletics, and you're also competing in Diamond Leagues on home soil, something I know you're really looking forward to doing.
This event, even just being in the hotel, is already buzzing. I just can only imagine what the atmosphere is going to be like in the stadium tomorrow. I've experienced sort of Brits' home crowd support before, slightly at the Commonwealths, and back in 2012 I did the Diamond League at the Crystal Palace meet. So that was an amazing experience to have that amount of love from the British fans, simply because you're out there representing our country, our nation. So I'm looking forward to that, and actually I'm excited knowing that I'm in really good shape. I've trained really hard, I've got a fantastic coach and a fantastic support environment around me. Everyone in the team has worked really hard to get me to this point, and I believe that I can do my part now, which is the jumping, and take that result.
Brilliant. I'm sure people will really appreciate the passion that you have. And we saw recently you tried a big jump at 1m94 at Bedford, which I know you were upset about not making because it was very close. But clearly, as I say, you do have that real drive. What really motivates you then?
The feeling of producing that big jump is just beyond description, I think. Just the feeling of flying, the feeling of power that goes through your body, knowing that you're athletic but actually using it at that critical moment when the bar's high. That's the moment that we all live for. And you have those moments where you do a really big jump, but if the bar's not at the right height, then it counts for nothing. It's just a vote of confidence in the future. So I jumped high over 191, but I didn't jump high enough over 194, and that killed me. Because I know I've got the jump, I proved I've got the jump, I just need to put it together over the big bars. And you know, I've had some good jumps in training, I've had some good jumps in competition, and hopefully those odds mean that that right jump will come at the right time in the very near future.
Yeah, let's hope so. And that weekend in Bedford International Games, there's poor conditions, and sometimes one can walk away and say, oh, the conditions weren't great for high jumping. But for you, when you go out and it's windy or it's raining, how is that something that you can put to the back of your mind? Because you don't want to sort of walk away with that excuse, if you like, but people will have sympathy on you if it is windy or raining.
The thing is, if you already kind of disregard your chances when the rain starts to come down, the wind gets up, you've really given away an opportunity, and I've worked too hard to give away any opportunities at this stage, and I love to compete, and a little bit of rain wasn't going to put me off that. It was a little bit cold and it was a little bit miserable, but you know, actually the rain stopped when I jumped, and despite the long wait, you know, I felt I really had that jump, which is why I was disappointed not to get it. But that said, you know, what was missing slightly was the competition. I was alone for the majority of my competition at most of the heights, and that's not going to be the case in the Diamond League. So two things that I'll have hopefully this weekend is the conditions and the competition. and I think I'm just absolutely made up to have this opportunity when those two elements come together to see what I'm really made of.
Well, hopefully that enthusiasm that you have and competing in those strong fields and of course the support of the crowd will give you what you need on that road to Rio and Track Field 97. Looks forward to following your progress. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.